The rain hammered against the window like it was trying to break in, a relentless Seattle gray that blurred the line between night and morning. I reached out in the dim light, my hand brushing warm skin that wasn't soft curves and lavender lotion, but the hard plane of a man's shoulder, dusted with faint freckles. My heart slammed against my ribs as I bolted upright, the sheets tangling around my legs, and there he was. Finn Whitaker, eyes still closed in sleep, his chest rising and falling like he belonged there. Like this was the most natural thing in the world. And in that split second, before the guilt crashed down, I felt something shift inside me, a crack in the foundation of everything I'd built my life on. Elijah Harper's world had always been a straight line. College in Portland, a steady job as a graphic designer in Seattle's tech bubble, and Amelia, the girl who'd laughed at my bad jokes in a coffee shop on Capitol Hill. We'd married young, at 25, in a backyard ceremony under evergreens that smelled like pine and promise. She was my anchor, the one who remembered anniversaries and planned road trips to the Olympic Peninsula, where we'd hike until our legs ached and collapse into each other's arms by the fire. But lately, those fires felt dimmer, the hikes more like trudging through mud. Amelia had thrown herself into her nursing shifts at Harborview, coming home exhausted, her eyes distant like she was already halfway out the door. I'd chalked it up to the grind of city life, the way Seattle chewed you up with its endless drizzle and overpriced everything. We hadn't made love in months, not since that awkward fumble after her sister's wedding, where Shed whispered, "It's okay, Elijah, we'll figure it out." But figuring it out felt like lying to myself. That night started innocently enough, or at least that's what I'd tell anyone who asked. It was a Thursday, the kind of evening where the fog rolls in thick from Elliott Bay, turning the streets into ghost towns. I'd been at the Rusty Anchor, a dive bar in Fremont wedged between a tattoo parlor and a vintage bookstore, nursing a pint of local IPA and sketching logos on a napkin for a client who wanted something edgy but safe. The place was half empty, the jukebox crooning some old Springsteen tune about thunder roads and broken promises. That's when he walked in. Finn Whitaker, all 6 feet of him, with rain-slicked blonde hair curling at the nape of his neck and a leather jacket slung over one broad shoulder. He shook off the water like a dog, scanning the room with green eyes that caught the neon glow of the Budweiser sign. He slid onto the stool next to mine, ordering a whiskey neat with a voice like gravel wrapped in silk. "You look like you're solving world hunger with that pencil," he said, nodding at my napkin. I laughed, surprised, and before I knew it, we were talking. Not small talk either. He was a carpenter from up in Bellingham, down for a job installing custom cabinetry in some tech bro's Belltown loft. Told me about growing up in a trailer park off I-5, how his dad split when he was 10 and his mom worked doubles at the mill until it shuttered. There was no pity in his stories, just this raw honesty that made my chest tighten. I found myself spilling back. The pressure of deadlines that blurred into nights alone on the couch, the way Amelia's scrubs smelled like antiseptic and regret when she finally crawled into bed. 2 drinks turned into 4, and when the bartender called last call, Finn clapped a hand on my shoulder. "Walk with me?" The air outside was crisp, carrying the salt of the sound, and we wandered toward the canal, our footsteps echoing on the wet pavement. He lit a cigarette, offering me one, and I took it, coughing like an idiot. That's when he turned, his face half-shadowed, and said, "You know, Elijah, most guys in your spot would be home by now, pretending everything's fine. But you're here with me, and that says something." His words hung there, heavy as the mist, and I felt exposed, like head peeled back my skin without even trying. We ended up at his truck, parked crookedly under a street lamp. He leaned in, not forceful, just inevitable. His lips tasted like whiskey and smoke, and for a heartbeat, I froze, Amelia's face flashing in my mind. But then his hand cupped the back of my neck, thumb tracing the line of my jaw, and the world tilted. It wasn't fireworks or some cheesy romance novel rush. It was deeper, like a dam breaking after years of pressure. We drove to his place, a converted warehouse loft in Ballard, all exposed brick and reclaimed with beams that Head built himself. Clothes came off in a blur, hands exploring territory I'd never mapped before. His body was solid, marked with scars from job site accidents, and a tattoo of a compass rose over his heart, pointing nowhere in particular. When he whispered my name against my skin, it wasn't Elijah the husband or Elijah the provider. It was just me, stripped bare. Morning came too soon, that rain-lashed gray seeping through the blinds. I lay there, staring at the ceiling fan turning lazy circles. Finn's arm draped across my waist like it was the most right thing. Panic clawed up my throat. What the hell had I done? Amelia would be at the hospital by now, probably texting me about grabbing takeout later. Our life, our vows, the ring still heavy on my finger. I slipped out of bed, heart pounding, pulling on my jeans from the floor. Finn stirred, propping himself on an elbow, his hair a mess of gold waves. Morning, he murmured, voice thick with sleep. You okay? I wasn't. Not even close. I mumbled something about needing to go, grabbing my shirt and bolting for the door. The stairs echoed my footsteps, each one a hammer blow. Outside, the rain had eased to a drizzle, but the streets felt narrower, the city pressing in. I hailed a cab back to our apartment in Queen, and the one with the view of the Space Needle that we'd always joked about selling for a cabin in the Cascades. Unlocking the door, I half expected Amelia to be there early, but the place was silent, her side of the bed still made from yesterday morning. I showered until the water ran cold, scrubbing at my skin like I could wash away the night. But Finn's touch lingered, a ghost on my collarbone, his scent clinging to the creases of my shirt. By noon, I was at my desk, staring at a blank screen, the cursor blinking like an accusation. My phone buzzed. A text from Amelia. Running late tonight. Love you. Simple words that used to steady me, now twisting like a knife. I typed back the same, then deleted the history, my fingers trembling. That afternoon, I drove aimlessly, ending up at Golden Gardens Park, where the sound met the shore in a froth of whitecaps. Kids flew kites in the wind, families picnicked on the grass, and I sat on a driftwood log, burying my face in my hands. What was this? A one-off mistake, the kind of thing men bury and never speak of? Or something more? A truth I'd been dodging since high school locker rooms. When I'd steal glances at teammates and tell myself it was nothing. I'd loved Amelia once, fiercely, but love can curdle when it's the only flavor you know. By evening, guilt had me pacing the kitchen, chopping vegetables for a stir-fry neither of us would eat. When Amelia got home, her hair in a messy bun, scrubs rumpled, she kissed my cheek and collapsed on the couch. Rough day? I asked, forcing normalcy. She nodded, eyes closing. Always. We ate in silence, the TV droning some cop show rerun. Halfway through, she reached for my hand. Elijah, we need to talk. My stomach dropped. About us. Things haven't been right for a while. I waited for the bomb, the confession that Shed met someone else, or worse, that she knew. But she just sighed, squeezing my fingers. I love you, but I think we both deserve more than this halfway life. Divorce papers? An affair? My mind raced, Finn's face superimposed over hers. Instead, she pulled me close, and we made love on the couch, mechanical and desperate, her nails digging into my back like she was holding on for dear life. Afterward, lying there with her head on my chest, I felt hollow, the echo of Finn's laugh ringing in my ears. The next day, Saturday, Seattle woke to a rare blue sky, the kind that tricks you into thinking winter's end. I told Amelia I had a client meeting, a lie that slipped out easy as breathing, and found myself driving north on I-5 toward Bellingham. Finn's number ID gotten in a haze that morning after, scribbled on a bar receipt. Call if you want to talk or not. No pressure. His text from last night casual as the rain. His shop was on the edge of town, a weathered barn with Whitaker craftsmanship stenciled on the door. He was there, sanding a oak tabletop, sawdust in his hair like fairy dust. Elijah, he said, straightening, surprise lighting his face. Didn't expect you. I stood there, words failing, until he wiped his hands on his jeans and pulled me into the back, where the air smelled of varnish and possibility. We talked for hours, sitting on sawhorses amid half-built furniture. He didn't push, just listened as I poured out the mess. The marriage cracking like old plaster, the fear gnawing at my gut. When I admitted I'd never done this before, never even thought about it, he nodded, green eyes steady. First times are scary as hell, he said. But hiding from it, that's what'll kill you slow. By dusk, we were driving to his place again, the ferry cutting through the bay like a silver blade. This time, it wasn't frantic. It was deliberate, bodies learning each other in the fading light. His hands mapped my scars, the ones from a childhood bike crash, whispering stories I didn't know I had. Afterward, tangled in sheets that smelled like him, I asked, "What now?" He traced my knuckles. "Now, you figure out your truth. They'll be here if you want." But truth is a slippery bastard. Back in Seattle Sunday night, Amelia was waiting with takeout from our favorite Thai place, her smile tentative. We talked, really talked, about the drift between us, the unspoken resentments. She admitted Shed felt invisible, buried under shifts and dreams of starting a family we both knew we weren't ready for. I held her, tears stinging, and promised we'd try counseling, date nights, anything. But as she slept, I slipped into the bathroom, scrolling Finn's texts, my thumb hovering over reply. Monday blurred into deadlines, but Tuesday I cracked. Met Finn for coffee at a hole-in-the-wall in Pioneer Square, the kind with mismatched mugs and poetry slams on weekends. We kept it light, laughing about bad client requests and Seattle's hipster plagues. But his knee brushed mine under the table, and heat flooded me. That led to his truck again, parked in an alley, hands fumbling in the cab like teenagers. Guilt followed, sharp as broken glass, but so did this electric pull like gravity shifting. Weeks turned into a secret rhythm. Stolen afternoons in his loft, nights pretending with Amelia. Shed started therapy on her own, coming home brighter, talking about passions rediscovered. It twisted me up, this double life. The way I'd kiss her goodbye and drive straight to him, heart racing like a live wire. Finn never asked for more, just gave me space to breathe, to question. One night, as we lay on his roof under a blanket of stars rare for the city, he said, "Love isn't a checklist, Elijah. It's the quiet that scares you into running." But running caught up. Amelia found a receipt from the bar, innocuous on its own, but enough to spark questions. "Where were you that night?" she asked over dinner, fork paused midair. "Work thing," I lied, the words ash in my mouth. Her eyes narrowed, hurt flickering. "Elijah, if there's someone." I shook my head too fast. "No, just me, messing up." She believed me or wanted to, but the seed was planted. I doubled down, canceling on Finn, burying myself in work until my eyes burned. He texted once, "Miss your laugh." Then silence. It ached, a hollow in my chest, but better than shattering everything. Until the company retreat in Portland, a forced team-building weekend at a vineyard outside the city. Amelia couldn't come, stuck with a double shift, so I went alone, nursing wine by the fire pit while colleagues swapped stories. That's when I saw him again, or thought I did. A figure across the flames, blonde hair catching the light. Heart in my throat, I circled the group, but it was just some sales guy from accounting. Still, the ghost of him lingered, pulling me toward the edge of the property, where grapevines twisted like secrets in the dark. I sat on a bench, head in hands, when footsteps crunched gravel. Not a ghost. Finn, real as the chill in the air, hands in his pockets. "What the hell?" I whispered, standing. He shrugged, sheepish. "Heard about the retreat from a mutual client. Thought I'd check the fences for the vineyard owner." Bullshit, but his eyes said otherwise. We argued in hushed tones, the what-ifs spilling out. "You can't keep doing this," he said, voice breaking, "hiding us like a dirty secret. I'm not built for half measures, Elijah." I grabbed his jacket, pulling him close, our breaths mingling. "Then you're free," I hissed, even as my body betrayed me, leaning in. But he pushed back, gentle. No, you decide. All in or nothing. He left me there, the night swallowing him whole. Back at the retreat, I drank too much, stumbled to my room, and dreamed of drowning in the sound. Finn's hand the only lifeline. Morning brought a hangover and resolve. End it clean. But when I got home, Amelia was packing a bag. Not leaving, she said, just a weekend with my sister in Tacoma. Space to think. The apartment felt cavernous without her. I called Finn that night, voice cracking over the line. Come over. He did, hesitating at the door like he knew. We didn't speak much, just fell into each other. The familiarity a balm and a wound. As dawn crept in, his head on my chest, I whispered, I think I'm falling for you. He stilled, then looked up, eyes fierce. Then choose me. But choice isn't clean. Amelia came back Sunday, eyes red-rimmed, and we sat on the balcony overlooking the hill, coffees cooling between us. I told her everything, words tumbling like an avalanche. The bar, the loft, the way Finn made me feel seen in ways she never could. She cried, quiet sobs that shredded me. But there was no rage, just this profound sadness. I thought we were broken, she said finally. But this? It's like you were waiting for permission to break free. We agreed to separate, amicable as these things go, papers drawn up by a lawyer friend who'd seen it all. She moved to a sublet in Capitol Hill, closer to work, and we hugged goodbye like old friends who'd outgrown each other. Freedom tasted bittersweet, like black coffee after years of cream. Finn and I took it slow, dinners at hole-in-the-walls, hikes in Discovery Park where the forest met the sea. He showed me his world. Sanding tables until they gleamed, the satisfaction of joints fitting true. I opened up about the boy ID bin, suppressing flickers of curiosity under layers of normalcy. Turns out, love doesn't care about labels. It just is. But life has a way of testing truths. 6 months in, Amelia called, voice trembling. Impregnant, Elijah, from before. The timing lined up with our last desperate night, a complication neither of us saw coming. Panic hit like a freight train. Finn, when I told him over burgers at Alki Beach, went quiet, staring at the ferries cutting paths across the water. Your call, he said, but his hand shook as he lit a smoke. The betrayal wasn't hers or mine. It was the universe's cruel joke, forcing me to confront what family meant. Amelia wanted to co-parent, no strings, but the thought of a child tied me to a past I was shedding. Nights blurred into arguments with myself in the mirror, Finn's patience fraying at the edges. One evening, after Shed shown up unannounced with ultrasound pics, he snapped. You're still choosing safe, Elijah. When are you going to choose alive? He stormed out, tires squealing into the night. I chased him to Bellingham, pounding on his door until he yanked it open, eyes wild. We yelled, raw and ugly, accusations flying like splinters. You think this is easy? I shouted. A kid changes everything. He laughed, bitter. It changes nothing if you let it. But you're scared, same as always. We collapsed against each other, fury burning into something fiercer, bodies crashing together on the workshop floor amid sawdust and tools. It was cathartic, a release of all the dammed-up fear. Afterward, tangled and spent, he murmured, I love you, mess and all. The words unlocked something, a floodgate. I chose alive. Told Amelia I'd be there for the baby, weekends and holidays. A dad without the white picket fence. She smiled, relieved, hugging me like the friend we'd become. Finn and I built something sturdier. A cabin in the woods outside town, his hands shaping beams, mine designing the plans. The baby came in spring, a boy with Amelia's eyes and my stubborn chin, and on the day I held him, Finn's hand on my shoulder, I knew. Love isn't straight lines or easy choices. It's the man who sees your cracks and builds bridges across them. The compassion that lets you hold two worlds without shattering. In the end, freedom wasn't leaving. It was arriving, messy and true, under Seattle's endless sky. The cabin smelled of fresh pine and possibility, the kind that sneaks up on you after a long rain. Finn had insisted on the build, his calloused hands measuring twice, cutting once, while I hovered with blueprints and doubts. It was our compromise. Far enough from Seattle's hum to breathe, close enough for co-parenting handoffs with Amelia. Little Theo, named for her grandfather, a nod to roots, gurgled in his carrier on the porch, tiny fists waving at the wind chimes Finn had hung from a cedar beam. I watched him. This bundle of chaos had upended everything, and felt a pang that wasn't regret, but something softer, like the first green shoots after winter. Finn emerged from the kitchen, wiping sawdust from his jeans, a beer in each hand. To new beginnings he toasted clinking bottles. His smile crinkled the corners of his eyes, that easy grin that still made my stomach flip after a year. I took a swig, the bitterness grounding me. Yeah. Though this one's got your stubborn streak already. Theo fussed, and Finn scooped him up, bouncing gently, cooing nonsense that sounded like sea shanties. Watching them, the way Theo nestled into his chest, I realized this was family. Not the nuclear bomb I'd feared, but a mosaic pieced from shards. Nights were the hardest at first. Theo stayed with us half the time, his cries piercing the dark like accusations. Amelia and I had a rhythm. Tuesdays and Thursdays with her, weekends split. Shed blossomed into motherhood, fierce and tender, dating a paramedic named Riley who brought her coffee and stability. We were civil, even friendly, trading stories over park benches in Green Lake, where Theo splashed in the shallows. But Finn, he carried the weight quietly, his green eyes shadowing when the baby left, like a tide pulling back. One evening, after a particularly brutal handoff, Theo screaming as if he sensed the divide, I found Finn on the back deck, staring at the tree line where fireflies blinked like lost signals. You okay? I asked, sliding beside him. He shrugged, that non-committal lift of shoulders that meant volumes. Just thinking about my mom. She raised me solo after Dad bailed, worked herself ragged. Never had this. Us. I laced my fingers through his, calluses rough against my palm. You think you're not enough for him? Finn, you're the one who'd build him a treehouse before he can walk. He turned, searching my face. And you? Ready to be the dad who sticks, even when it's messy. The question hung heavy as the humid air. I'd grown up with parents who'd stayed married out of duty. Their love a faded photograph. Leaving Amelia had felt like betrayal then. Now it was mercy. Yeah, I said. For him. For us. He kissed me slow, the kind that erased doubts, and we made love on the deck under the stars, Theos monitor humming softly inside. But bliss has cracks. Work pulled me back to the city more, client pitches in glass towers overlooking Puget Sound, where suits droned about branding synergy. Finn thrived in his solitude, taking on commissions for driftwood sculptures that fetched prices that made him chuckle. We bridged the miles with calls, his voice a tether through traffic jams, until the gallery opening in Pioneer Square, a showcase for local artisans. Head asked me to come, nervous in a way I'd never seen, buttoning a crisp shirt that smelled like his soap. The space buzzed, wine flowing, critics in slim ties murmuring approvals. Finn's pieces dominated one wall, a series of waves carved from salvaged fur, each crest frozen in foam that evoked the sound's fury. I stood back, pride swelling, when a voice cut through. Elijah? Amelia? Arm linked with Riley's, her eyes wide over a glass of Merlot. Small world. It was. Awkward small talk ensued. Theo at home with a sitter, Riley charming Finn about union carpentry. But as the night wore on, I caught Amelia's glances, not jealous, but probing. You look happy, she said later, pulling me aside by the coat check. Really happy. I nodded, throat tight. He is. Everything. She smiled, wistful. Good. You deserve that. Finn sold 3 pieces that night, champagne bubbling as he signed contracts. We celebrated in a back booth at a speakeasy nearby, his knee pressed to mine under the table. Highs like this made the lows bearable, or so I thought. Until the call 2 weeks later, Amelia's voice edged with panic. Theo's fever spiked. He's burning up. I raced from a meeting, tires hydroplaning on slick streets, arriving at her apartment to chaos. Pediatrician on speaker, cool cloths, tiny body writhing. Finn met us at the ER, silent sentinel in the waiting room, hand on my back as Amelia paced. Hours blurred. IVs, tests, a diagnosis of some viral bug that hit kids like a truck. Theo stabilized by dawn, sleeping in a crib with rails, monitors beeping steady. We three collapsed in vinyl chairs, exhaustion bonding us in uneasy truce. Thank you, Amelia whispered to Finn as nurses bustled, for being here. He nodded, gruff. Family's family. The word landed, shifting something. On the drive home, Theo bundled in my lap. Finn glanced over. See? Messy works. Summer brought ease. Barbecues on the cabin deck with Amelia and Riley joining sometimes. Theo toddling between us like a mayor glad-handing voters. Finn taught him to hammer nails into scrap wood, oversized tool in chubby fists, while I sketched logos inspired by the boys' wild curls. Love deepened in layers. The way Finn hummed off-key while cooking chili, or how head traced my spine in sleep, anchoring dreams. Yet doubt whispered. At a friend's wedding in Walla Walla, wine country sprawl of vineyards, I caught myself watching the grooms exchange vows, rings glinting under string lights. Later, buzzed on Cabernet, I broached it with Finn as we danced slow on the grass. Marriage? For us? He stilled, hands on my hips. If you want, but am not chasing papers to prove this. It stung, that casual deflection. Back home, tension simmered. He worked longer hours I buried in revisions. One night, after Theo dirted every diaper in the house, I snapped over spilled milk. Literal on the kitchen floor. Why can't you just commit? I yelled, mop forgotten. He fired back, eyes flashing. Commit? I'm here, Elijah. Every cry, every bill. What more you need? Silence after was worse, a chasm. I slept on the couch, staring at rafters head planed smooth. Morning brought coffee and apology, but the fracture lingered. Amelia noticed at our next drop-off, her brow furrowing. Troubles? Just figuring, I said. She hugged me. Love like yours? Is worth the fight. The fight came in autumn, leaves turning the Cascades to fire. Finn's mom, Lila, visited from her new place in Spokane. A wiry woman with his eyes and a laugh like thunder. She sized me up over pot roast, asking pointed questions about intentions. He's my boy, she said later, washing dishes. Don't break him like his daddy did. Guilt gnawed. That night, as Lila slept, Finn and I walked the property line, flashlights cutting fog. I love you, I started. But this baby, the custody, it's like I'm split down the middle. He stopped, beam catching his face, etched with weariness. Then glue yourself back, or let me go. The ultimatum echoed my own fears. I chose glue, diving into therapy, solo sessions in a cozy office overlooking Lake Union. The counselor, a soft-spoken guy named Marcus with a beard like a philosopher's, unpacked layers. Internalized shame from a conservative upbringing, the terror of queerness in a world that preached picket fences. Finn joined once, reluctant, his vulnerability cracking me open. We emerged raw, closer, hands clasped in the parking lot like lifelines. Winter hit hard, snow blanketing the cabin in hush. Theo took his first steps by the tree, tumbling into Finn's arms with a giggle that melted ice. We celebrated with hot cocoa and a playlist of indie folk, swaying in the living room as flakes swirled outside. In that warmth, I proposed, not with rings, but words, whispered against his neck. Marry me, not for show, for us. He pulled back, searching. You sure? I nodded, fierce, surer than anything. We eloped in spring, just us and a justice in a meadow near Mount Rainier, vows exchanged with wildflowers in our lapels. Amelia toasted us later, Theo on her hip, Riley snapping pics. To loves that rewrite the rules. But rules rewrite back. A year on, Finn's gallery caught a big collector's eye, offers pouring in from New York, tempting with galleries and green rooms. He wavered, torn between roots and reach. I saw the spark in him, the boy from the trailer who'd dreamed bigger. Go, I said over breakfast, Theo smearing oatmeal. Well, follow when you're ready. He did, packing his truck with sculptures and sketches, kissing me deep in the driveway. Calls came nightly, his voice crackling from hotel lobbies, stories of subway rushes and dive bars in Brooklyn. Exhilaration laced his words, but so did loneliness. Miss you two idiots, he'd say, and wed video Theo waving sticky fingers at the screen. Distance stretched weeks to months. I threw myself into freelance, designing apps for queer nonprofits, finding purpose in pixels. Amelia and I tag-teamed Theo seamlessly, her place a second home with Riley's easy grin. But nights alone, the bed vast, doubts crept. Was this the fracture widening? Then the letter, a gallery contract, 6 figures but with strings, relocate permanent. Finn called, hesitant. What do you think? I swallowed fear. Think we'd make a hell of a city family. We did. Moved east in summer, a walk-up in Williamsburg with views of the East River. Theo chasing pigeons in McCarran Park. Finn's name buzzed in art circles, shows selling out, while I built a studio in the corner, screens glowing with ideas. Life pulsed. Playdates with Amelia's visits, brunches with new friends who'd fled Heartland closets for concrete jungles. One crisp fall evening, as we strolled the High Line, Theo asleep in his stroller, Finn stopped, pulling a velvet box from his pocket. Rings this time, simple bands of reclaimed gold. For the record, he said, sliding mine on. I love you, Elijah Harper. Past, present, all the mess. Tears blurred the skyline. Love you more, Whitaker. And in that moment, under the hum of the city, I knew we'd changed everything. Not just about love, but about living it, unapologetic and whole. New York chewed and spat, a beast of steel and steam that never slept, much like the doubts that woke me at 3 a.m., staring at water-stained ceilings. The apartment was a shoebox triumph. Exposed brick, a fire escape that doubled as Theos jungle gym, and Finn's sculptures lining shelves like silent guardians. Mornings started with espresso from the corner bodega, bitter shots chased by bagels slathered in cream cheese, while Theo banged spoons on high-chair trays, his laughter a siren call against the horns blaring below. Finn thrived, his days a whirl of studio sessions in Bushwick, where welders sparked and painters cursed canvases into submission. Head come home dusted in clay, eyes alight with tales of collaborators. A queer sculptor from LA with tattoos like living murals, or a curator who defected from MoMA for indie fire. I loved that spark, the way it reignited the man I'd met in a rainy bar. But envy flickered too, a green-eyed shadow. My freelance gigs paid bills, logos for startups that folded faster than they funded, leaving me tethered to a laptop while he chased horizons. We adapted, carving rituals. Sunday roasts in a rooftop community oven, trading shifts with Theo so one could wander the Met or catch a reading at Housing Works. Amelia visited quarterly, her flights a bridge across states, arriving with suitcases stuffed with hand-me-downs and stories of Riley proposing under Cascadian pines. Shed beam at our chaos, Theo calling her Mama Lia with sticky hugs, and we'd debrief over wine on the fire escape, stars pricking the pollution haze. You two glow, Shed say, clinking glasses. Don't lose that. But glow dims. The first crack was subtle. Finn late from a networking happy hour. Text apologies lighting my phone as I paced with Theo on my hip, his whines mirroring my own. Sorry, babe. Ran long with investors. Love you. I believed him, tucking Theo in with a story about boats that sailed to impossible islands. When Finn slipped in at midnight, reeking of bourbon and perfume. Not his. I swallowed questions, pulling him close instead. Rough night? Just work, he murmured, but his kiss tasted evasive. It built slow, like humidity before a storm. More events. Gallery crawls in Chelsea where champagne flowed and egos inflated. Head come home wired, crashing into sleep, while ID lie awake, tracing the new lines around his eyes. Theo picked up on it, clingier, tantrums flaring at drop-offs. One afternoon, after a particularly epic meltdown involving flung Cheerios, I called Marcus, my old therapist, now a Zoom lifeline across time zones. Sounds like resentment brewing, he said, voice steady through pixels. Talk it out before it festers. I tried. Over takeout pad thai on the couch. Theo conked out in his room. I broached it. You seem distant. The scene? Or us? Finn paused, chopsticks midair. Both, maybe. This city, it's electric but exhausting. Like I'm performing constantly. His honesty cracked me open, vulnerability ID missed. Me too, I admitted. Feels like I'm the anchor holding while you sail. We talked until dawn, words weaving repair. Date night sans Theo, mandatory unplug after 8. It helped, his hand in mine on subway rides to Coney Island, where we ate hot dogs and watched Theo chase gulls, his squeals drowning the waves. Love resurfaced, deeper for the dive. Then betrayal slithered in, uninvited. It started with an email, innocuous in my inbox amid spam. A newsletter from Finn's gallery, photos from a private viewing. There he was, arms slung around a guy, tall, dark-haired, with a jaw like chiseled marble and eyes that promised trouble. The caption: Finn Whitaker and Muse, Alex Rivera, collaborating on Waves Reimagined. Muse, the word slithered, coiling in my gut. I waited, casual over breakfast. Saw the pics. Alex seems inspiring. Finn's fork stilled, then resumed. Yeah, he's got vision. Pushing me on this install. Nothing more. But his nonchalance rang false, and that night, as he scrolled his phone in bed, I glimpsed a text. Can't wait for round 2. Alex. Heart hammering, I feigned sleep, mind racing scenarios. One night slip, emotional drift. By morning, confrontation brewed. Who is he, really? I asked, coffee mug gripped white-knuckled. Finn sighed, rubbing temples. A friend. Collaborator. Why the 3rd degree? Because round 2 sounds intimate, I shot back, voice rising. Theo stirred in the next room, and we hushed, the argument fracturing into whispers. He's nobody, Finn insisted, but doubt seeded. Days blurred into surveillance. Checking his calendar, noting late exits. He noticed, pulling away further, our bed a no-man's land of backs turned. Amelia sensed it during her visit, cornering me in the kitchen while Finn chased Theo in the living room. Spill, she said, chopping carrots for stew. I did, the muse, the texts, the chasm. She hugged me, fierce. Confront it head-on. You deserve truth, Elijah. Truth came crashing at a gallery soiree I crashed. Uninvited, suit ill-fitting amid the velvet ropes. The space hummed. Jazz trio, air thick with oud and ambition. Finn stood by a massive installation, waves of twisted metal evoking tempests. Alex beside him, hand lingering on his arm. Laughter shared, intimate, the kind that excludes. Rage boiled, propelling me forward. Excuse me, I said, voice steel. Alex extended a hand. Charming. The partner. Heard so much. Partner. The word mocked as I pulled Finn aside, into a storage room stacked with crates. What the fuck? He's touching you like... Like what? Finn hissed, eyes flashing. He's a colleague. We're adults, Elijah. Flirting happens. Flirting? I laughed. Bitter. Or more. Tell me I'm wrong. He deflated, shoulders slumping. One kiss. Drunk after a pitch. Nothing happened. But it could have. The admission gutted me, air sucked from lungs. Why? Fear, he whispered. Of losing us to the grind. Alex doesn't come with baggage. No kid, no history. Baggage. Theo, our life reduced to weight. I stormed out, hailing a cab to the apartment, tears hot on cheeks. Theo greeted me with a truck, oblivious, and I held him tight, inhaling baby shampoo, anchoring. Finn came hours later, face drawn. "We need space," I said, voice steady through shatter. "Figure your shit." He left, crashing at Alex, no, a friend's, he swore, while I navigated solo dadhood. Amelia flying in early for support. Nights were war zones. Anger at his weakness, grief for the trust fractured. Marcus zoomed daily, unpacking betrayal not as end, but mirror. "What does this reflect in you?" he asked. "Fear of abandonment," I admitted. "From Dad. From Amelia, now this." Finn reached out via texts. "I'm sorry. Therapy. Come back." I resisted, building walls, but cracks showed. A package arrived. A small sculpture, Theo-sized waves cradling a boat. Note attached. "For our captain. Love, F." Heart tugged, I called. "One coffee. Neutral ground. A diner in Midtown. Formica tables sticky with history." He looked wrecked, unshaven, green eyes hollow. I started, words pouring. The hurt, the loneliness, how his doubt echoed my own insecurities. He listened, tears tracking. "I panicked," he said. "This city amplifies everything: success, failure, us." Alex was escape, not replacement. Forgiveness isn't linear. We tried couples counseling. A sharp-witted dyke named Carla who chain-smoked menthols outside her office. Sessions peeled layers. Finn's imposter syndrome from trailer roots, my control born of loss. Progress was glacial but real. Nights rebuilding intimacy, hands tentative then sure, bodies remembering. Theo turned 3 amid it. A party in the park with balloons and cake. Finn and I co-hosting like pros. As he blew out candles, wishing for trucks, per tradition. Our eyes met over frosting-smeared cheeks. A silent vow. But healing scars itch. Months later, at another opening, Alex appeared. Contrite handshake offered. "Water under the bridge?" he asked. Finn tensed beside me, but I nodded. "Yeah." Drowned and gone. Winter thawed to spring, and with it, renewal. Finn's show toured, taking us to Chicago, where wind whipped off the lake and Theo discovered deep dish pizza. In a hotel room overlooking Millennium Park, after Theo crashed, Finn pulled me to the balcony. "We're stronger," he said, arms wrapping, "because of the break." I leaned back, his chin on my shoulder. Mess makes masterpieces. And in the city's glow, we kissed, sealing not just survival, but evolution. Love tempered, unbreakable. Spring in New York bloomed defiant, cherry blossoms rioting pink against concrete canyons. A fleeting beauty that mirrored the fragile piece Finn and I had stitched from tatters. The apartment thrummed with routine, Theos daycare drop-offs. My pitches to ad agencies that finally stuck. Finn's studio humming with apprentices who'd become family. Alex faded to footnote, his collaborations polite and distant. A ghost exorcised by time and talk. We celebrated small. Brunches at 5 Leaves with avocado toast and Theo finger-painting menus, or quiet evenings where Finn read picture books in voices that cracked me up, his gravel turning whimsical for dragons and trains. Amelia married Riley that summer. A backyard affair in Bellingham streamed live to our fire escape, where we toasted with IPAs and Theo waved at the laptop like an old pal. Shed moved west permanent. Their home a cozy A-frame with space for Theo to roam come visits. Seeing her radiant, vows exchanged under the same evergreens where Finn and ID eloped, stirred something profound. Not loss, but gratitude. For the ending that birthed this. Yet undercurrents swirled. Finn's success swelled. A solo exhibit at the Whitney whispered in hushed tones. Scouts from Ellis circling like sharks. Pressure mounted. His sketches frantic. Nights spent pacing with tape measures and mood boards. I supported, brewing late coffees, rubbing knots from his shoulders, but envy crept back, insidious. My career plateaued, a solid gig designing for a queer-lit mag, but no fireworks. Who was I in this duo of equals turned lead and star? The crack widened at a fundraiser gala. Black tie sprawl in a Soho loft, air thick with donors and dry martinis. Finn shone, tux tailored sharp, charming a cluster of philanthropists with tales of reclaimed wood and reclamation. I hovered peripheral, nursing seltzer, Theositter on speed dial. Then she approached. Vanessa Hale, art world siren with raven hair and a smile like sin, editor of some glossy that profiled disruptors. Elijah, right? Finn's better half. Her laugh tinkled, hand lingering on my arm. He's revolutionizing craft. You must be so proud. Proud. The word chafed. I am, I said, forcing grin. But revolutions need foot soldiers too. She tilted head, intrigued. Modest. Rare in this crowd. We talked, her, about curating queer narratives. Me venting freelance woes. It flowed easy, her wit a bomb, and when she slipped me her card, whispering, lunch? Insights exchanged, I pocketed it without guilt. Networking, I told myself. Harmless. Lunch became coffees, then drinks. Vanessa a whirlwind of ideas and invitations to panels where my voice found echo. She listened, really listened, to my rants on identity and design, eyes sparkling over cosmos. Finn noticed, casual at first. Vanessa's cool, he said over dinner, Theo mashing peas. Smart cookie. But his jaw tightened when I mentioned late sessions at her office, poring over mock-ups till the city lights blurred. Jealousy, that old beast, reared reciprocal. One night, post-drinks with her crowd, writers and activists in a dive-off Houston. I came home loose, laughing at some anecdote Shed shared about crashing auctions. Finn waited, arms crossed, sculpture half-sanded on the table. Good time? He asked, tone-edged. Yeah, I said, hanging coat. Met some folks. He nodded, too tight. Vanessa included? The name dropped like accusation. What's that mean? I countered, heat rising. Networking, Finn. Not every connection's a threat. He snorted, sanding harder, with dust flying. Like Alex wasn't. The slap of past silenced us. Air thick. Low blow, I muttered, retreating to bed. Back turned. Apologies came morning over burnt toast. Sorry. Insecure bullshit. I get it. We hugged it out. Theo oblivious, stacking blocks into towers that toppled like our tempers. But the seed sprouted, Vanessa's texts innocuous at first. Idea for your portfolio? Escalating to personal, you're wasted on corporate drones. Let's grab wine, unwind. I did, once, at a wine bar in the village, her laugh warming the chill autumn eve. Talk turned intimate. Her divorce from a gallery owner who'd cheated with interns. My marriage unraveled to queer awakening. Vulnerability bonded, her hand brushing mine over stemware. Elijah, she said, eyes soft. You deserve spotlights, not shadows. The kiss happened blur-fast, her lips tasting of Merlot and mischief. In the alley after, rain slicking cobblestones. I pulled back, guilt instant, but thrill lingered, a forbidden pulse. Home to Finn, who slept sound. I showered scalding, scrubbing phantom lipstick. Lies became habit. Late client calls, portfolio reviews that stretched to midnight. Finn mirrored his own drifts. Overnights at the studio, claimed inspirations striking late. I smelled it. Cologne faint, not his. Texts buzzing during dinners, silenced quick. Confrontation brewed, but fear glued lips. Theo turned 4. Party at the park with piñatas and face paint. Our smiles pasted as he chased cousins. Amelia, visiting, pulled me aside. You two okay? Shadows under eyes, she noted. Fine, I lied. Just busy. Busy shattered midwinter. A blizzard blanketing the city in white hush. I came home early, Theo napping at daycare's snow day, to find Finn on the couch, phone in lap, face ashen. Vanessa's latest. Dinner tonight? Your place, discreet. Had seen it, synced accounts betraying. Elijah, his voice broke. How long? Months, I confessed, collapsing beside. Started innocent. Then, I didn't finish, shame burning. He nodded, slow. Me too. A model Kai from the Whitney prep. Kisses, heavy petting. Stopped before more. But the thrill filled the voids. Void, plural. We unpacked, raw, my resentment of his ascent, his of my growing circle that excluded him. Vanessa represented escape for me, validation. Kai, for him, youth and fire. Betrayal doubled, but in naming it, we disarmed. No more, we vowed, deleting contacts, recommitting to us. Therapy intensified, Carla drilling deeper. Patterns of avoidance, seeking outside what wilted within. Homework. Weekly check-ins, no devices after 7, touches deliberate. It worked, slow burn. Cooking classes where we burned garlic bread but laughed. Hikes in Harriman State Park. Theo backpacked, pointing at deer like discoveries. Spring brought absolution. Vanessa called, contrite voicemail, crossed lines. Friends, I deleted, blocking. Finn did same with Kai. At a quiet dinner in Little Italy, candlelight flickering on Chianti bottles, he raised glass. To us, flawed, but fighting. To fighting, I echoed. And in that toast, betrayal transmuted. Not scar, but strength. Love forged in fires wed both stoked. But fires reignite. Summer sweltered, city a steam bath, and opportunity knocked. A design fellowship in Portland, 6 months, stipend generous. Amelia lobbied, her voice eager over calls. Come west. Theo could split time, you'd breathe real air. Finn encouraged, selfless. Go, grow. Temptation tugged, fresh starts, near roots. But leaving him, the thought hollowed. I declined, but doubt seeded. Was I shrinking for love? Arguments flared, petty. Dishes left, socks misplaced. Masks for deeper fears. One night, post-fight, Theo crying from the noise. Finn packed a bag. Space, he said. Studio couch till we cool. Days stretched, apartment echoing. I parented solo, Theos questions piercing. Where daddy? At work, buddy. Lies again. Amelia flew in, her presence steady. Talk to him, she urged, before it hardens. I did, showing at the studio unannounced, rain-sheeting windows. He looked up from a half-formed wave, eyes wary. Missed you, I said, simple. He stood, crossing arms. Missed us. We talked on the fire escape. City lights winking below. Truth spilling. My fear of stagnation, his of smothering ambition. Compromise born. Sabbatical shared. A month in Portland scouting. Theo with us. Finn guest lecturing. West Coast air cleared heads. Hikes in the gorge revealing vistas like possibilities. Back east, renewed we planned. Joint projects, my designs etched into his woods. A collab exhibit blending craft and code. Autumn leaves fell, and with them old skins. At Theos preschool open house, finger paints and alphabet walls, we stood hand in hand, parents nodding approval. Normalcy hard won. That night, making love slow, bodies synced like sculptures. Finn whispered, "You're my muse." Always, I replied, and in the afterglow, betrayal a distant echo. We slept entwined, dreams unfractured. Fall deepened, New York's palette shifting to ochre and rust, leaves crunching underfoot like brittle memories. The collab took shape in Finn's Bushwick space, a cavernous warehouse where sunlight slanted through grimy panes, illuminating our hybrid creations. Wooden panels etched with digital fractals, waves coded to pulse like heartbeats. Theo wandered the edges, toy hammer in hand, mimicking our focus with adorable ferocity. Critics buzzed early previews, calling it innovative fusion, but for us it was therapy, lines converging where lives had diverged. Success amplified scrutiny. A profile in that glossy Vanessa once helmed featured us. The Carpenter's queer canvas, photos of Finn mid-chisel, me tweaking screens, Theo photobombed in overalls. Headlines followed, from straight-laced to unapologetic, Elijah Harper's reinvention. The straight-laced stung, dredging old wounds, but Finn framed the mag on our mantle. Own it, he said, kissing my temple. That's your story. Ours. Story. Mine twisted anew when Dad called, voice crackling from Boise. where retirement meant golf and grandkids' head never met. Saw the article. Proud, son. But that lifestyle? Worrisome. The worry masked judgment. Decades of Sunday sermons echoing. I hung up mid-sentence, heart pounding, then called Mom softer edges. He means well, she soothed. Loves you. Always has. Love. Conditional. I drove to the studio, needing Finn, finding him instead with Kai. Brief consult, he swore. Kai sketching angles for the install. Laughter shared, easy, ignited old fuses. Trust frayed. I bolted, wandering East River paths until dusk. Gulls crying accusations. Home. Finn waited, concern etched. Dad, I explained, collapsing. And Kai, again. He pulled me close, explanations tumbling. Pure work, boundaries ironclad. But doubt poisoned, nights sleepless, scenario spinning. Carla mediated. Her office a sanctuary of plants and tough love. Triggers, she named. Betrayal echoes, amplifying insecurities. Homework. Radical honesty journals. Pages filled with fears unvoiced. I wrote. Afraid you'll tire of the dad, the anchor when muses call. Finn read, eyes misting. Never. You're the tide that pulls me home. His pages mirrored. Fear you'll resent my chaos. The spotlight stealing your shine. We burned them in a park fire pit. Ashes to wind, symbolic cleanse. Climax brewed subtle, then stormed. The exhibit opening loomed, hype building to fever. RSVPs from collectors, press from coasts. Rehearsal stressed us. Lights wrong, code glitching. Theo teething through it all with wails that frayed nerves. One eve, post-meltdown, Finn snapped at my suggestion on panel alignment. Always fixing, Elijah. Let me lead. Hurt flared. This is us, not solo. Or is it? He stormed to the studio, I to the bar, drowning in scotch the color of regret. Midnight found me there, stool-bound. When Vanessa slid beside, uncanny timing. Rough night, her scent, familiar, stirred ghosts. We talked safe at first, art politics, city grind. Then deeper, her solitude post-divorce, my churning doubts. Vulnerability sloshed with liquor. And when she leaned, lips brushing, I didn't pull back. The kiss deepened in her cab, hands wandering, stopping at her door. Shame hit dawn, cab back to emptiness. Finn gone, bag packed, note on fridge, need air. Love you, call when ready. Panic clawed. Amelia, roused by frantic call, booked red eye. Found me pacing, Theo sensing storm in fretful sleep. Breathe, she said, brewing tea. What you do? Everything, I confessed. The kiss, the doubts, pushing him away. She hugged, no judgment. Fix it. Go find him. He was at the cabin, our bolt hole west, unlisted key under mat. I flew, heart in throat, rental car chewing miles to Evergreens. Door open to him, unshaven, coffee mug steaming. Elijah. One word, weary. Can I? He stepped aside, silence thick as fog. We sat by the fire, words halting. My kiss, his escape to roots, the pressure cooker of our life. I broke first, tears hot. Afraid of losing you to this, to us breaking under weight. He knelt, hands framing face. We're not breaking, bending, yeah, but stronger. Revelations poured. His own kiss with Kai, weeks back, stress-fueled at a bar, stopped cold by my face and mind. Mutual fractures, mirrors held. No more escapes, we vowed. Radical transparency. Phones open, doubts voiced daily. Back in New York, the opening dawned crisp, gallery thrumming anticipation. Theo in tiny bow tie we unveiled. Waves pulsing code, lights dancing like synapses firing. Crowd oohed, applause thundering. But pinnacle was Finn's speech, voice steady. This isn't just art. It's love, messy, mended, magnificent. Eyes locked on mine, ring glinting under spots. Reviews hailed triumph, but ours was quieter. Home, Theo crashed, We slow danced in kitchen to Coltrane, bodies sinking like our work. Betrayal? Old scar. Faded. Love? Eternal wave, cresting endless. Yet waves crash. Winter gripped, holidays looming, and Dad's invite arrived. Christmas in Boise, family full. Bridge or burn? Finn urged go. Show them us. I did. Theo bundled. Finn beside. Rental SUV cutting snow-dusted plains. Home loomed unchanged. Rancher with plastic reindeer. Mom's cookies scenting air. Dad stiff at first. Handshake awkward. But Theo thawed. Grandpa's gruff coos over blocks. Dinner tense, small talk skirting edges until port after, fire crackling. Dad cleared throat. Saw the show online. Impressive. And you too. Happy? Honest hit. Yeah. More than ever. Silence stretched, then nod. Good. That's what matters. Not easy for an old dog, but learning. Tears pricked, hug following, bear tight. Mom whispered later he's trying. For you. Return flight buoyant. New chapter. Spring brought Theos kindergarten jitters. Us tag-teaming uniforms and lunches. Finn's next series. Family portraits. Us three in wood and wire. Vulnerability carved bold. My designs bloomed. Queer app collectives hiring, voice amplified. Climax crested summer. Amelia announcing. Pregnant again. Riley beaming. Theo ecstatic for sibling. Us aunts-uncles by proxy. Visit West. Cabin-filled laughter. Bellies round with possibility. In that circle, pasts converged. Amelia's grace. Finn's steadiness, my evolution. Tapestry whole. Love, we learned, isn't absence of storm, but sailing through, sails torn but mended, horizon ever calling. Summer waned lazy, New York's heat yielding to breezes off the Atlantic, carrying salt and second chances. The cabin visit lingered like afterglow. Amelia's glow, Theos' wide-eyed awe at the new bump, Finn's quiet sketches of the scene, capturing ripples inward grain. Back east, life pulse steady. School runs with Theo chattering bus adventures. Finn's lectures at Pratt drawing crowds of wide-eyed students. My panels at queer tech summits where voices like mine finally echoed loud. Betrayals past? Distant thunder, lessons etched deep. Autumn quickened pace. Leaves carpeting sidewalks in gold confetti. Theos backpack heavy with crayons and conquests. Finn and I stole mornings. Coffee on the fire escape. Legs tangled, plotting winter's escape. A cabin rental in the Adirondacks. Just us three, no signals, no schedules. Dreams wove easy now, post-fractures, each scar a map to stronger seams. But fate, that sly editor, inserted twist. A call from Boise. Mom's voice tremulous. Dad's sick. Prostate. Aggressive. Come soon. Shock rooted. Then motion. Flights booked. Theo prepped with gentle half-truths. Finn packed without prompt. His hand steady in mine at the gate. Whatever comes, he murmured. We face it. Idaho unfolded stark. Plains golden under vast sky. Rancher now hospice shadowed. Dad's frame shrunken in recliner. Theo approached shy, offering a drawing of boats. Our motif, Dad's eyes crinkling. Fine work, champ, like your dad's. The compliment simple, bridged gulfs. Days blurred caregiving. Meds timed, stories swapped by his bed. Mom bustling soups while Finn fixed creaky porch steps. Hammer echoing resolve. Evenings, Dad and I talked real. His regrets, factory days masking doubts. The sermons shed to shield boys like me from world's cruelty. Sorry, son, he rasped one night, hand frail in mine. For the silence. I squeezed, tears salting. Heard you now, Dad. That's enough. He passed midwinter. Quiet exit under snow-muffled dawn. Us gathered, Theo asleep in Mom's lap. Funeral plain, pine box under evergreens. Eulogies from kin hood drifted. I spoke last, voice steady, he taught duty. We teach love unafraid, unbound. Finn's arm anchored. Theos' small hand in mine, closure not end, but pivot. Grief rippled homeward. New York's clamor a balm and bruise. Therapy helped, Carla guiding waves. Loss amplifying old fears, but also clarifying priorities. Finn dove deeper into portraits. Dad's likeness emerging in gnarled roots. Vulnerability honored. I channeled into community. Mentorships for young designers from Heartland Flights. Stories like mine finding form. Spring bloomed resilient. Cherry trees defiant. Amelia's baby arrived. Girl named Sage. Theos Auntie Judy's earnest with burp cloths and bottles. Visits west became ritual. 2 families entwined. Cabins hosting reunions where laughter drowned echoes. Finn and I, in quiet moments, marveled. From bar stool spark to this mosaic. Climax crested subtle. A gallery retrospective. 10 years Finn's craft, our collab centerpiece. Opening night, crowd swelled. Critics, kin, queer icons rubbing elbows with Theos preschool pals in tiny suits. He unveiled finale. A triptych, us 3 as compass. Elijah adrift to anchored. Finn wild to rooted. Theo arrow true. Plaque read. Love reclaimed. Tears flowed free. Applause thundering. But our pinnacle post-party. Rooftop bar. City sprawling below. Theo conked on couch. We danced slow to busker's guitar. Breath sinking. 10 years. Finn whispered. Feels like yesterday. Tomorrow. Always, I replied. And in that vow, pasts alchemized. Betrayals to bridges. Conflicts to compass. Identity forged not in isolation, but union. Years folded forward. Theo grew lanky, questioning crushes with our gentle nudges, world wider than closets. Amelia and Riley's clan swelled. Holidays a boisterous blur of pies and puzzles. Finn's name etched museums, mine in digital archives, but home remained core. That shoebox turned sanctuary. Fire escape vigils watching sunsets gild the bridge. One eve, as Theo packed for camp, his first solo, boats on the list, Finn pulled an envelope from drawer. Tickets, Amalfi Coast, anniversary gift. Just us, he grinned. Reclaim roots. I kissed him fierce, hearts tandem.